What up, world? Welcome to episode 120 of the Blunt Talk Sports Podcast, Eagles NFL schedule release recap. I am your host, Anthony Wright, coming to you from the beautiful and now sunny confines of Atlantic City, New Jersey. Wherever you may be watching or listening, I thank you as always. Like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel. You can check the Blunt Talk Sports Podcast not only here on YouTube, but on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Substack, Patreon, Trovo, and as well as on Podbean. Don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Thanks. Happy to be here with you guys on this beautiful May 15th, 2025. As you guys know, yesterday the NFL schedule release came out. Shout out to the Bird Game, Fly. We're going to be reviewing the Eagles schedule, recapping the good games, the bad games, things I noticed that might be of difficulty, things that I think that might be a good use for the Eagles. So a lot of things to unpack, but before we get into it, I definitely want to make sure we give a shout out to one of our friends of the show. If you guys are an avid gamer like I am, or you're anticipating a new Madden release like I am, definitely make sure you get your PlayStation 5 ahead of time. If you check in the description box, there will be a link in this video for PlayStation Direct. I've been a PlayStation player since 1996. I advocate anyone that if you are, you love a gaming experience, you like to be immersed in it, check out Sony PlayStation. Sony PlayStation, more than a game. Looking to get out this weekend, looking to take your spouse out, have a great time with some friends, then look no further than the #1 leading ticket seller and reseller in the world, StubHub. #1 seller in the world for live events, tickets, shows, and concerts, StubHub. To this episode, guys, episode 120. Like I said, we're going to recap the NFL schedule release. Big night. A lot of jam-packed games. I mean, they last night, I caught as much of it as I could because I was watching the NBA playoffs as well as conjunction with the schedule release, and a lot of big and important games to touch on. The NFL games, the news of note that I thought that were important. I'll definitely have a separate video touching on that. But this video, most importantly, is dedicated to the Bird Gang, Fly. Damn, what a schedule. Not shocked when you're the Super Bowl champion. You are the hunted. You're going to be playing getting everybody's best. I like this schedule though. Growing up, I used to be apprehensive a little bit about playing a lot of the good teams because you knew that injuries, things happen along the way. You're kind of a little bit, you have a bit of trepidation when you're a kid going into it because you're like, oh man, we're playing this team, we're playing that team. Or you might like a player on the team, so that kind of, gives you some conflict there. But fandom, being fandom, you always want your team to prevail and pull it out. And it's funny because I've noticed the past couple of years, the Eagles have, it's funny, in the Super Bowl season in 2022, where they lost to the Chiefs in Arizona, it was hilarious because I remember that whole season, people were saying, well, they didn't play anybody. They didn't really play anybody. Eagles then, have a year where, things didn't go right, knocked out in the first round. Last year, run through a gauntlet of a schedule. That shit couldn't even be uttered by anyone with any credibility. If they had credibility, they lost it if they said that shit. And nonetheless, games played out. Eagles wound up winning the championship. Last season, 2024 is in the books. Now, 2025. Let's get started with the first game of the season. As we all know, I did a video on this a couple days ago. The rumor was dropped. Week 1 of game 1, Thursday Night Football, the Eagles will be playing the Dallas Cowboys. I'm a little shocked here. I kind of thought that Lions game, which was pushed to week 11 for Philadelphia, I kind of thought that was going to be the first game. But they put Dallas on there. Be that as it may, it's a division rival. Kind of understand it. We'll see. Number 2, week 2. At Kansas City, big game, Super Bowl rematch. Obviously, it's not the same teams, but, nonetheless, it's still going to be a big game. Both, the Eagles get up for that game. Believe it or not, the Eagles are actually 1-0 with Jalen Hurts and company in Arrowhead Stadium. So the Eagles do have a history of winning there. They play the Rams. Now, here's what I thought was very interesting. Weeks 3, 4, and 5, you got the Rams, Bucks, and Broncos. Now, what's amazing about that is those are all 1 o'clock games. I honestly thought that they might have made one of those a 4 o'clock game, but I am not bitching. Trust and believe, because when you cover The NFL, like I do, you cover a lot of these different leagues and you're watching a ton of content. Sometimes less is more. So, no harm there. But yeah, bunch of 1 o'clock games early in the year, which was dope because if you look at how they set up the schedule, they gave the Eagles 2 primetime games off the rip. I mean, you got an 8:30 game on Thursday night, game 1 of the season, banner night. Week 2, you got a Sunday afternoon game, 4:25 against, the team you played in the Super Bowl, Kansas City Chiefs. And then, weeks 3, 4, and 5, like I said, respectively, you got 1 o'clock games. Now, where that flips is week 6. You go up to, the Meadowlands, East Rutherford to play the Giants. That'll be a Thursday night game at 8:15. Now, what's kind of weird about this is if you notice the first 6 games, they did a perfect balance. You got 3 at home, 3 on the road. But if you look the crunch that's sandwiched in here, I'm going to get to the hard part of the schedule after the bye week. I'm going to get to that in a second. Then, you're on the road against the Giants, like I said, week 6. Week 7, you go to Minnesota, which will be a huge test. You go to Minnesota, that's a 1 o'clock game. I like that. I like the odds for that one. Then you play the Giants again. So you got the Giants sandwiched in between the Vikings. So if low key, they're kind of making the division a little bit paramount for the Eagles very early in the season. You played 3 division games in a span of 6 weeks. So that definitely matters. But all these games matter. I mean, hell, as you know, all these games matter. But very pivotal that they win those division games. Also, you go, like I said, you play the Giants at home, 1 o'clock game. So again, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 5 in the first 8 weeks. You got 5 1 o'clock games. So you can't really argue with that. We'll definitely be seeing the Eagles a lot at 1 o'clock early in the year. Now, here's where the switch comes in. Contrary to last year, the bye week is a lot later. I believe the bye week last year was week 4 or 5. It was very early in the season. I want to say it was week 4 or 5. Nonetheless, this year's going to be week 9, which I kind of like. It's kind of like right in the middle. Gives time, it's kind of like right there at the end of October, beginning of November. Gives teams kind of a chance to reset and regroup. Coming off that bye week, week 10, the Eagles will be going to Green Bay, playing the Packers on Monday Night Football, which would be a huge game, especially after the playoff game. A little history these teams have had playing against each other the past few years. Number 11, week 11, you have the Detroit Lions, Sunday Night Football, which is going to be a monster game. Kind of pissed that game's not earlier in the year, but needless to say, it's there. Week 12, Philly will be traveling to Dallas. That'll be a 4:25 Sunday game. No shock there. Now, this one, I was actually shocked. I thought the Eagles might have gotten a Christmas game this year, but they didn't. They wound up getting a Black Friday game, which, with the way the holidays are, having family, everyone coming through, football is great to have on, trust and believe. We definitely are sitting there watching the game, but, there's a bunch of other things going on at the same time, too. And God knows I would be fucking pissed if I missed the Eagles on Christmas or any holiday for that matter. So definitely happy they're going to be on day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday game. They'll be playing against Chicago in Philadelphia. That'll be a 3 p.m. game. So something midday to kind of, kill the malaise of the holidays for you. Week 14, you have the Philadelphia Eagles going to Los Angeles playing the Chargers. Now, kind of dope because this is a sneaky one. This is a Monday Night Football game, week 14. Late in the season, you have the AFC West kind of litter. Obviously, you see, from, if your eyes didn't tell you already, the Eagles play the AFC West this year. And you figure you got the Chiefs and the Broncos early in the year. And then you don't really have the Chargers or Raiders until later in the year. But you play them, it's weird because at the beginning of the year, you have Chiefs week 2, Broncos week 5. So you play them kind of like 3 weeks apart. Then week 14 and 15, you play the Chargers and Raiders. So you got 2 AFC West opponents back to back right there. Now, the Raiders game is going to be a 1 o'clock game. That's going to be week 15. Week 16, where it gets a little bit interesting. Washington Commanders obviously played the team in the NFC Championship game. Looks like it's going to be a great rivalry game that everyone's looking forward to. However, this has TBD next to it, which means to be determined. They have not announced a date for this, which means it's possibly a flex game. Week 17, this is going to be a good one. As it was, I'm pretty sure, the last time when these two teams played. Eagles will travel to Buffalo week 17 to play the Buffalo Bills. That'll be a 4:25 game. Now, depending on how the season may play out, records, health-wise, how things you may not have any starters even playing that game. So bear in mind with that. Also, and last but not least, week 18, you play Washington again. It'll be at home, but date will also be to be determined. I like the schedule. I must admit, I'm not really pissed off by the schedule. I'm not really too angry at anything. I mean, you got some division games early. You got some like I said, you got some early games for a chunk of the first part of the half of the season, and then the later half of the season, it's a lot of later games. You know, 8s to 4s between 3 and 8 p.m. The Eagles will be playing. So a lot of evening football for the Eagles late in the year, a lot of early football. So I have no qualms and no issues with that. I mean, ultimately, you're the Super Bowl champion. You're going to get the best out of everybody. You're going to play everybody at their best. So I really can't make any, gripe about this schedule. Now, with the tush push being going, with the tush push about to be going, I should say, the NFL is making a huge push to make sure the Eagles are on prime time. So this is why, the NFL wanted to make sure that this shit was going. So that way, this is pretty much one of their ways of getting to this. So that way they can have the Eagles on, no tush push, entertaining game. They're not fooling anybody. This is all fantasy stat shit. You know what I mean? It's a bunch of fuck shit. But needless to say, that is the schedule as it's released. And before I end this episode, I do have a breaking announcement the NFL just dropped. NFL owners will discuss a resolution that will allow NFL players to participate in flag football at the 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. I think this is going to be incredible for the game. This is just going to help expand the football universe even more. You think about it, I grew up, I'm an old school guy. I love tackle football. I grew up playing tackle football. I remember two-a-days, the hard practices. I know a lot of that's of things of the past, relics of the past, but I do understand that flag football has a place. It should be recognized. It should be acknowledged. And I do think that if we really want to compete and we really want to say that we're the best in the world at this sport, we should have our best players competing in that, in those games. And also to the fact that they're not getting tackled. Now, granted, you do always run a risk of injury. I mean, that's, knock on wood, no one gets injured. But you do have to understand flag football, you do have to consider, as an Olympic sport, that makes more sense. And also, too, I think it's a great way for those guys to possibly stay in shape, too, for those that, get selected going into the, incoming season. So a lot of, positives to it. I'm pretty sure there are some cons as well. I can't just think of them right now, but huge news coming out of the NFL earlier this morning. But that's going to do it for this episode, guys. I thank you as always. Again, Fly Eagles Fly. I love you guys. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day.